Well, welcome to today's showcase. Today we're showcasing Superior Health Support Systems, which is in my hometown. They hail from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. It's an organization that our company, Capstone Leadership Solutions, have had the great pleasure of partnering with. And they are here today to showcase their story, their results, why they started, what they've accomplished along the way. And as most folks know, these types of initiatives are meant to be long-standing. They're not meant to be a project that started and ended, and the journey continues. So today's showcase is really about what's happened so far, and we know there's many more great things to come for their organization as they continue on their superior journey. So today I welcome Amber and Tracy from that organization to kind of share a bit about their organization and their superior journey. And Tracy, I'm going to start with you. If you could, you do such a great job explaining kind of the context of, the organization and how it's spread out over a large rural region, has many homes across that region that serves residents of the area. So if you could just kind of, for those that are unfamiliar, which probably most are on this call today, explain to them a bit about your organization and where it's located and who it serves.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Holt. I'm the president for Superior Health Support Systems. And we have been around for 19 years and originally started out as just Hearthside Assisted Living, which right now I believe we were the only one in the state that actually accepts Medicaid and Social Security as payment in full. So of the current 55 residents that we have, 73% fall into that category. So we're really here to meet the needs of the community for sure in the Eastern Upper Peninsula. From that journey, we decided to open up an adult foster care home right in behind, and it's a 6-bed home for people with dementia and Alzheimer's. So specifically to really keep those individuals in a small group setting, as they do so much better opposed to having a lot of different people and a lot of different commotion going on. So again, that was at the request of some community members that came to us asking if we would consider doing something such as that. And from that, we started getting a lot of outside community members asking if we would ever consider doing something in their areas. And so we said, absolutely, we wanted to help out as many as we could in the county. And so from that, we opened up 3 more adult foster care homes, one in Detour, one in Pickford, and one in Red Yard. And each of those homes are licensed, and we have 5 beds that are for assisted living type needs. And each of those 3 homes have 1 room designated specifically for hospice. And partnership with Hospice of the EUP, those rooms are all available to the community members at no cost. As we all know, there's no insurance company other than Medicaid that will pay for room and board, and you'd have to be in a nursing home in order to have that covered. So we really wanted to reach out and make it a lot easier for family members during that time to not have to worry about finances and just really focus on the patient and their family time. And so it's been a wonderful journey. It's been amazing what we've been able to do for the community, but we've had a lot of wonderful partners in the process that have made it happen for us.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. I love how you've expanded your services, in response to the needs of the community. And I know that that does not come easily or without challenges. It's very purposeful work, but also very challenging work. Whether it's you or Amber there as, the insiders there that know about those challenges, what are some of the things that really have challenged you as an organization, and maybe even are the things that prompted you to reach out to Capstone and consider starting a formalized, what you now call a superior initiative or journey? So what was kind of the challenges that you were facing as you were going about this important work?
Well, some of the right off the bat, we did COVID. We opened 2 homes right in the middle of COVID, which made it very difficult because you have bills to pay, staffing to hire, and nobody wanted, well, we couldn't place people in the homes at the time, and then if you did, you could not get in to see them. So staffing was huge at the time because a lot of people weren't working. And so once we got over that hurdle, then it was really looking at our model, because we grew so big so fast that we didn't have the administrative team support, and we were just trying to do it bare bones, and we realized very quickly that that was not the way to go. We were excited about the success because of the 3 homes that were built, or the 4 adult foster care homes. The community paid for those 100%. So they were all brand new facilities, completely paid for. But now it was, how are we going to maintain those with very limited staff? And we didn't take that into consideration of how quickly we would grow, and that we really needed to add more components in order to be successful.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
that time to be able to get somebody like Amber on board and Jade as HR, and start really getting staffing the administrative team to where we needed to be to drive us into the future.
Mm.
And then thankfully along came Capstone and Fans of the Framework and you and Jane, and helping us really uh, get to where we needed. And to be honest, we were at a point of not surviving. And had we not had you guys come along when you did to help us out, I don't think we would be sitting here today having this conversation.
Yeah, yeah. It's rare, but it still happens that organizations that we start working with, that they really are in a crisis as far as, how the trajectory is going to go into the future if something doesn't change, something doesn't happen to shore up some of the situations. There's the financial piece, and then there's the people piece, right? And both of them are important. And I recall in the beginning, staffing was a big problem. And if you don't have staffing, then you can't have, as many residents. And it's such a, you know, kind of, one of those things where both are happening at the same time. You need them both to be happening at the same time. You need your beds filled, but you need your staff to be there. So you need your rosters full of staff. Um, Amber, what was your turnover rate when you started? Do you remember the number, or about the approximate number of turnover that you had?
Yeah, well, you know that I'm a numbers person because being the
I know, me
CFO,
too. So
I'm a
that's why I
huge fan
directed it to
and
you.
like cars. So I have my numbers. We know. Um, so our number has like really the crazy statistic, and COVID played a really big part in that. But I also think that our culture needed a shift. Um,
Hmm.
Hopefully you guys are still seeing us. We froze up there for a second, I think.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
little bit spotty, but I can hear you. I hope everyone else can too.
okay. Um, and so like we knew that turnover, like we had to stop the hemorrhaging of losing staff. So in 2021, we had turnover of about 69%. 2022, it was up to over 90% turnover. Right in the thick of it, of COVID, before we had really made shifts in everything. And that's, when we started working with you guys. Last year in 2023, our turnover was about 58%. Still not stellar, but an improvement over the 2 previous years. And then so far year to date for 2024, we're at 29%,
Wow, I
which
have
is
goosebumps
a
right now.
huge shift.
I have goosebumps
Yes,
right
it
now.
was, it is unbelievable how much it has come down.
And that's with the
Yeah.
just over 90 employees altogether.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thanks
yeah,
for
we're
creating
right
that
around,
context
yeah, I think it
too,
was
is
like
yeah,
18.
yeah. And I know,
But
because
again,
this
we put
is
a
kind of,
lot of new processes in place to help.
one of the things that I also know that is a number thing is your occupancy in your homes. I know that because your financial margins are so tight, just because to your point right at the beginning, Tracy, of 73% of your residents in your largest facility are basically at the lowest, payment rate that others just won't accept, into their organizations, and you accept them as the majority of your residents, this lowest, payment. And so, you know, your revenue is obviously impacted by that, and that, affects your wages, your ability to pay any wages, benefits and things of that nature. So keeping every bed full gives you the best potential for revenue, obviously. And I know you celebrated just recently for the first time having 100% of all of your beds filled in your facilities, which gives you that, maximum amount of revenue that your organization needs. But you can't do that, or you couldn't in the past with so many vacancies in your staffing. Like you could only staff, have the beds filled to the level that you could provide adequate care for. So, um, tell me, what do you think are the things that helped you get to a point of full beds and lower turnover? Two big wins for your organization. What do you think are some of the things that have really made a difference?
The biggest thing that comes to my mind right now is that we have staff throughout the organization that are helping with that. So really getting through the journey, getting everybody to buy into what we were trying to accomplish and to really work together as a team to help out all of the homes. Everybody is really working hard to help each other out. So it's not just one home trying to, working by themselves or just our side working on our side. So huge credit to the staff and the work that they're doing and the efforts that they're putting towards it. We're not just waiting for, for the phone to ring. Because again, with our limited income, we don't have the opportunity to go and spend thousands of dollars on marketing. So we're really doing what we can with limited income, but really focusing on utilizing our staff, especially those that really have that knack with the community and the different referral sources and keeping good open communication and really helping out.
Mhm. I agree. I really think it starts with our staff and with our people. And I think we got caught in something that a lot of organizations, health organizations, got caught in during COVID, which was sort of that warm body syndrome. You have open slots in the roster, you need a schedule filled, and if somebody comes and applies for you and they are upright and a warm body and they can come in and do the job, they were getting hired, which seemed like the right thing to do at the time. But in our time working with you, we learned a lot about hiring and being selective in hiring. And I've really enjoyed kind of overseeing the HR and seeing all of the work that Jade has done to really help us stick to those guns. Because there have been times that we've been tempted to go back to it. Like we're in a tight spot, we really need people. And like you're really tempted to just like, I just need a warm body in this. But then we've been able to step back and say, we want to be selective. We really want to bring people on that are going to be strong team members that are going to be in it for the long run. One of the things we've started tracking, so we have our turnover overall, but one of the things that was really happening is we noticed we had sort of this revolving door. We would get that warm body in and they would work shift or a week or something, and they would be out the door and it wasn't a good fit for them. It wasn't, it wasn't the right work. So we've been paying attention to our turnover during the first 90 days. Last year, 14% of our overall turnover was in the first 90 days. Like it was like people were just coming in and going out the door. And that's really stressful for the people who have been with us long term. They're getting burnt out and they get that attitude of, oh, great, another person that's not going to last, a month. So far year to date, we've brought our 90-day turnover down to 3.5%. We have a lot more people that are coming on and staying on long term. And I think a lot of that credit is given to, you know, when Jade is reviewing applications, when we're reviewing people, and we've had a lot of previous staff reapplying now. That's been also an interesting thing that we've been observing. But we are more selective, and we're recognizing, you know, staff that we had on are not quite the right fit for us. And by being more selective, we're really sort of curating a really strong team. And that bleeds into everything, you know, with the occupancy, yes, is so important. And being the financial person, you know, I look at the bottom line all the time and I'm like, okay, like this is important, but to get those results, you actually have to focus on other things. I think focusing on our staff, focusing on our employees, creating that strong team just bleeds into everything else and gives us that reputation, gives us that ability to provide care that is going to draw in residents and, you know, help families trust us to care for their people.
And since January, 13 previous employees have reapplied.
16.
16 now?
16.
16.
And of those, we only hired back, I think, 3 of those.
Ah, yeah. So you're selective and you know, have some history and knowledge of them to make you even more selective than somebody that is a stranger to you. So yeah, it's interesting that they're coming back. You know, maybe they left because they thought the grass was greener somewhere else, found out it wasn't. But yeah, that's amazing. I love the focus on being selective and then also on monitoring, you know, the results of your selection. How long did they, you know, did they stay? Was it a good fit? And then learning from that. You know, Tracy, I want to circle back to something you mentioned too about, you know, how united your employees are in this effort. I can even think about, when we were talking about one of your goals, which was to increase your occupancy, and I love your reference, Amber, to how really focusing on people, service, and quality, the care, and the people in your team, and all of that, and you know, focusing on that, then you can leverage success there for growth and filled beds and the financial you know, improvement that comes with that. But you know, Tracy, you mentioned about all of the staff being helpful and engaged in that. And one of the things I was thinking about that was, I remember a very specific meeting where we were having a conversation with the staff about, you know, all the staff rallying around this idea of having all of the beds filled. And as humans, sometimes it's hard to buy into that as humans because that might mean we're working harder, right? Like if I'm there today and there's only 3 residents, I'm working less hard than if there's 5 residents, right? And so what's really in it for us to fill those other 2 beds when, you know, our shift's going to be our shift and maybe it's calmer if there's only 3 residents in that home today. So I remember having that conversation about being so community and mission focused that we want the beds filled because that means that our community has needs and we're meeting those needs at the maximum ability of our home. So I just remember that one in particular is, you know, will our employees really go out there? You know, we have to rebrand busy or full as good versus extra work or harder work, right? And it seems like it goes against maybe human nature in some regards. So,
Well, it took a while too. It's not something that everybody was buying into right away. The whole superior journey, as we call it. But over time, and like you've said, it's not going to happen overnight. And we just one employee at a time had to get them to buy into it. But getting them engaged with the conferences that you guys have put on, some of the podcasts, and just our meetings, they really, I mean, our senior leadership team, they're all just, they're into it now and they're excited about it. So when we fill a bed now, it is a celebration. And, you know, the text messages go out, we just filled our last bed. They're excited about it. But it's not so much, I mean, you'd like to say that it's because, okay, they know that this ties into the raise. They know that this is, if we're gonna have any chance of any type of a year-end bonus or just being able to do things for the facility, you obviously need the money. But it's more than that now. Now it's personal. Now they see the satisfaction and the joy that you get from meeting some of these goals. And then it's getting other people excited about it just as much, which that's huge. That's what we want. We don't want it to be just about the bottom line.
Mhm.
Which, Sue, I want to point out another thing that we just realized at our board meeting. And, you know, Amber being, we projected, or Amber projected that at this time of the year, halfway into through the fiscal year, that we would be at a loss of 50 to 100,000
Yes.
organizational wide, and we are at a break even.
Yeah.
And so we are not lost at all. And so now we're meeting with the senior team and saying, okay, now let's push it to the year and let's get from, like I say, this pillar to that pillar. How are we going to get from here to there by the end of the year? What can we do? And that's what we're excited about right now, because even the board at the meeting this week, they're just amazed. They are amazed. And the board members didn't even buy into this at first, but
Yeah.
now they're starting to see the results. And we just kept telling them, you just trust us, give us the time to make it happen.
Yeah, yeah. It's been beautiful to watch it go from being an idea, a strategy, an approach to being something that now is really how you do things around here. It's foundationally how you operate now, how you grow, how you improve. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not really a something that you start and stop. It's something that you keep building on and like you just said, it's like, okay, even this year, what do we do to end the year strong and move beyond what we thought was possible? And it is exciting. And when you engage the employees, they do feel that same pride. Just like you mentioned, the texts go out and the celebrations start to happen, and they feel like we use the phrase "do it with them, not to them," right? And so them feeling part of it and connected. We also, I was just on another call earlier today with an organization that we're working with that kind of overlaps facilities in various locations all across a very large region as well. And it's pretty common where when you have like different facilities across a region, especially if one's like the larger, more, anchor type facility, maybe main campus, bigger campus, more employees, etc., where it feels like those that are on the outside are really on the outside, that they don't feel as connected. How do you think, you've, approached helping the leaders and the employees at those different facilities feel like they're really part of one really important organization and that they feel connected to each other? What are some of the real, maybe grassroots practical things that might seem small, but they're working to make them feel connected?
Well, we do a lot of the Zoom meetings, obviously, but then most recently, what we started doing is even taking some of the staff from the other different homes and going and touring each other's homes so that they all get to see each other. And that was fun because, some of the homes are much smaller. When we were new into this, we learned along the way what to do different. So that was neat to see their excitement and getting to go around and see each other's place of business and what they're doing and meeting the residents. And then some of just the things that we've done as an organization, building those relationships with all of the staff and allowing opportunities for them to network and to be together. We have a boat cruise coming up next month that we're offering to all the employees and family members. And so we thought, what a great way to just be able to mingle and get to know each other a little bit better. But now we are continually offering the opportunity for everybody to go and tour around the homes. And that's been very effective.
Mm, yeah, yeah. To be part of an
Just different, like
organization
I
and
said.
just only your
Yeah, like you
Say
said,
that
it's
again,
so
Tracy.
because detour is an hour away.
Yes.
So it's very hard to do things, but even when we do our celebrations and summer picnics, we do it in the other outlying areas, so not everybody's traveling to the same place all the time and having to have that disruption, but that's been really focused, and we ask for everybody's input. And the one thing that we did take, which was your suggestion, is instead of having our 3 teams, which that wasn't working for us, we just don't have the numbers, and that's where we were kind of failing. So we condensed everybody, and we have 12 members on our lightkeepers, our senior leadership team. And that's been great. That was probably the best thing that we could have done, because we were really struggling and keeping up and putting the time and effort into it that it deserved. But now having just one solid team, we can really move forward and get things done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's, part of the approach is to get started and then evaluate it and decide how to make it work where you are, right? That it really does need to be customized to work where you are, and you're uniquely different than other organizations. But, how can we, figure it out here? Everything's figure outable. So, and part of that work is putting your own brains around it, getting creative around it, giving it a go. If it's not working, figuring out what might work and giving that a go too. So study, adjust. I guess that's what we say a lot. Study, adjust. Um, Jade, I know Jade's on the line, and she's also from the organization. And so if she had any like comments or things to put in the chat, we could do that. Because I know she's also from the organization and the team. And we have Amber and Tracy here, but also I see, people from other organizations are with us here today. And if they have any questions, I just want to take this moment that anyone that is on the line, if they want to ask a question, they could either put it in the chat or they could raise their hand and we could take them off mute. We want to make sure that anyone that is on the line here today, if they have any questions for Amber or Tracy, we'd be glad to entertain those as well. And we have several capstone team members here, and they might have some questions too. So I want to open it up to that so we make sure that that's known to folks. I'm going to check that right now. Not seeing anything in there yet, but if anyone does have any questions, please put them in the chat. So,
Okay, one observation I had too, as you guys were talking about the changes we've seen in our team coming together. We had some big critics. Like, we had some people who really thought that, us starting this and doing this was like, it's nothing's gonna change. This is how it is. And some of those people that were our biggest critics are now some of our biggest contributors.
That's a great part of the story, to be honest. We like to use the phrase that negativity screams at us, right? And so sometimes those critics are pretty loud, and they can cause you to second guess yourself or question yourself. Like, you know, should we really be doing this? Are we, did we make the right decision? I can think of that even in my own hospital. When we started our initiative, I remember those very critics, and not all of them turned around, and you can do it in spite of that, right? And you just got to make sure they don't stop you. But then it is nice to see that turnaround.
Especially when there's a lot of, from a financial perspective, that's, I'm the only founder board member left. And we want to remain true to our mission and servicing this population. And contrary to what other people think from time to time on the board, we don't want to have to start excluding a certain population, which is who we were intended and is our mission to serve. And so we're just very thankful for the opportunity that you guys have given us and helping out to make sure that we can survive doing this and meeting the needs of those community members and not having to shift and be who we were not meant to be.
Oh, yeah, just so that you could, yeah, either make a profit or whatever. So really being mission driven and community driven. I do want to also provide some recognition for the grant that was received to support you in funding your superior journey, because there's some investment of resources needed to do that, and so you guys were so committed to doing this that you're like, okay, let's get creative, how can we fund it? And it's really great that you were so resourceful in that way to be able to provide some of the funds needed to initiate your superior journey. So I don't know if you want to speak and provide some recognition for your grant funder, but I thought it was an important part of your story. I think that a lot of organizations are trying to figure out how to find resources to do these kind of things. Um, and I think we all have our own ways of getting resourceful, and you certainly had yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Michigan Health Endowment Fund was very open arms when we approached them about the opportunity for us to be able to do this. And it was a very easy process, and they were very supportive of it. And we thank you and Jane for doing your in-kind support to make it possible. But the match, that's huge, especially when writing grants, when you have a match opportunity as opposed to asking for 100% funding for something. It's almost a given in most cases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and now, the return on investment for that should serve the organization for many, many years to come, which I think most granting organizations want to see, is that their dollars have a lasting impact, not just a moment in time impact. And I think this is maybe, a star for them too, to see this opportunity and to contribute in this way to such an important mission in the Eastern Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Well, what a lot of people don't realize too is when we first started this 19 years ago, we were $1.7 million in debt. And we exhausted $100,000 line of credit to meet payroll. So now and that was just one building. So to be where we're at today speaks volumes of the community and the organization and the employees. And so it'll be exciting to see, where we go from here in the future. Because at this point last year, I mean, it was looking, or even a couple of years ago, some of the board members figured we had enough, to get by for the next 4 years, and we would be looking at either transitioning and having somebody taking over the organization or closing homes, and that was not going to be an option. In
Not on
either
your watch,
case,
I know.
so now to know that we're not at that point and that we are looking at the future and not having to be so concerned about, okay, who's taking over? Or which home are we going to close? Because that was going to be a devastating and just not even an option for us to even look at, especially when the community is the one that paid for these homes. That was the last thing that we wanted to start having a conversation about.
Yes, yes.
We love the fact that that you guys are still there as a support. So, Amber can reach out, Jade, working with your staff, that's still huge because we're still in the learning stages and growing. And we, the staff coming on in these newer positions, to have mentors and people to reach out to and networking, going to the conference is a big thing. So we really hope that you continue that. And we're actually hoping that you'll still come to the Sioux and put something on here so we can send everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is our home court, so and it's really been a lot of fun to be this close to it, because most of our partners are, 2 small plane rides and a rental car, 3 or 4 hour drive away to reach them. And so you're just down the road from, Jane and Julie and I, who are three of our team members here in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan. So you have a unique opportunity to engage with our team differently than maybe other partner organizations. And then plus, on the positive side for us, we're able to more closely feel the impact of your organization in the community and the positive changes and the ripple of impact of that, and really experience it closer and firsthand because it's in our backyard. So yeah, it's been a beautiful opportunity, and it's been our honor and privilege to be of service to your organization and its mission. And um for sure, we always say friends for life, right? So we always want our partners to be successful well into the future. And so from time to time, you're going to have questions, you're going to need a little advice, and we're happy to support you along the way for sure.
Well, and you mentioned Julie. I know Julie's on the call. I spotted her earlier. Like, I just have to give a huge shout out to Julie. Like, she has been such a huge help on the HR side. So Jade, who's our HR director, I don't know how many times I tell her that she is just like the exact right person to do that job. Because she worked her way up from being a frontline resident care aide to, working up into more administrative jobs and then coming up in the business office with me. So she's somebody that like, she knows our organization in and out. She knows our staff in and out, what they need, how they feel, what they're experiencing, which is so huge for human resources to really understand your people. And, when we brought her into the business office, it was knowing that she had all of the skills and all of the talent, but didn't necessarily have the HR background, didn't necessarily have, some of those things. And Julie was just so perfect to come in and really sort of fill in some of those gaps for us. And as we met certain challenges, we could reach out to her and say, hey, like, we're coming up against this, like, how should we handle it? We kind of think we should do this. Like, what do you think? And she was able to help us know if we were on the right track, give us feedback, or, help us kind of tweak some of those systems and processes to make sure that we're, doing things the way that we should. But getting Julie and Jay together, I think, was one of like the best things we could have ever done. It has really done some awesome things.
Yes, Julie saying thanks in the chat for that
Yeah.
recognition. And yeah, definitely. We're really so lucky to have expert talent like that. We're a small and mighty team at Capstone, and we serve, small and mighty organizations. And so it is usually a good match because our people, just like you mentioned, Jade has, been there. She knows the work, she knows the people. Julie's like that as well. She's also, she started in registration and in healthcare right on the front lines herself, and made that same, leap into human resources. And so it's often a lovely match and that's why we call it a partnership. So, well, I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat. Let me do one more round of asking, and if not, we'll leave it to any parting comments that either of you might want to say. But let me do a last call for any questions in the chat or any hand raises for anyone out there that wants to ask a question of Amber or Tracy about their organization and its superior journey. Sometimes on these events, we have very, very inquisitive people that put lots of questions in, and today it's just kind of quiet there. So, well, thank you both, Tracy and Amber, for being willing to take this, virtual public stage to showcase your organization and its superior journey. We're very, very proud of the changes that you've been able to champion there in your organization, and your continued commitment to what's next for your organization and taking this even farther to serve your mission. And congratulations on 100% occupancy and finally hitting that goal and reducing your turnover from 90% to 29%. I mean, just right there, two big wins. Those kind of results don't just happen. They take a lot of work, and you've done the work, and congratulations.
And thank you for all that you guys have done and for this opportunity to share our story today.
Yes, thanks for being willing to do so. Thank you again for those that did attend live. Thank you, Tracy and Amber, for being here today. And I also want to give props to our capstone coaching team, Julie included, as was mentioned earlier, but our whole team that works, really tirelessly to support all of our partners to achieve results like this and create systems that will serve them for years to come. So thanks for showcasing your efforts.